What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about how Max should return for Life is Strange 3. So, this is another one of my weekly Life is Strange videos. It's slightly later than it should have been, so I'm sorry about that. But I'm trying to make a new Life is Strange video every single week on this channel, kind of leading up. Hopefully, I'm beating the trend, right? In that Life is Strange, the next Life is Strange game could very, very well be announced very, very soon. Now, it's supposed to happen probably after Final Fantasy VII Remake for next gen. That hasn't happened yet, so we're still, kind of in that dark period of just waiting for it, right? And we also don't know if it's going to be a spin-off game, this next Life is Strange game, or a Life is Strange 3. So, I guess to clarify the title, what I'm talking about is if there is a main installment, a Life is Strange 3, just like Life is Strange, blank, and then Life is Strange 2 with Sean and Daniel, if there is a third game, I think Max should return. If it's a spin-off game, that depends. If it's what people think, and it's like Stephanie, right, that we meet in Before the Storm, and if it bridges more of the gap where it goes into Life is Strange 1 territory, I mean, there's also a very good chance, I would say, that Max would make like a cameo, so that's definitely a thing. But I guess we can even bring that up, but I do want to talk about, if there is a main installment game, that she should be back, and not only that, she should be a main character in it, okay? Now, if you guys do like this stuff, make sure, as always, you're subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on so all these videos go up. And if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, PodcastNow15 is my Twitter handle. I'll leave a link for it in the description below. If you guys want me to talk about anything specific with Life is Strange, also definitely let me know in the comments. So, here's the deal. And I only speak for myself, and especially, trust me, especially with Life is Strange games, I truly only do speak for myself. I know I don't represent everybody in the Life is Strange community. I do think I'm kind of ahead of the time when it comes to Life is Strange in general. I really liked, and I think a lot of people liked 1 in the moment. Life is Strange 2, I talked about before that I feel that I hated it at the time, and I think over time, more and more people have noticed issues with that game. So I'm not saying I'm a prophet or I'm somebody that can foresee the future, but I am saying that inadvertently. So, no, I mean, in reality, I think Max as a character, and I think Life is Strange 1 is probably generally looked at better than Life is Strange 2. Again, that is an assumption of the community. I can't speak fully for them, right? But I will try, and if I'm wrong, definitely let me know in the comments. From everything I've seen covering all of this channel started with Life is Strange. It was one of my very first videos ever, was playing all of the Life is Strange games on this channel. Life is Strange 2, I covered. Life is Strange Before the Storm, I covered. The Farewell episode, I covered. This game, I'm covering. So, from the time I've been around, I have noticed, I think, that Life is Strange 1 tends to be the more popular game. And why do I say that? Well, Life is Strange 2, I think, was very conflicting and really did, in a way, I would say, split the fan base. And not in the same way that the Last Jedi did it, but it definitely, I would say, split the fan base. There was a theory with Life is Strange 2 that Sean and Daniel could go down, or even one of them, could go down a darker path, and Max could kind of be brought in, not like an Avengers thing, but she could be brought in as like the other side, the good side, and you could, maybe it was a silly thing, but like the idea that maybe they would fight each other, or that Max could be like a mentor in some way to Daniel for his powers, like, that was something that was brought up. It wasn't like, oh my god, this was something that could have happened. There was, remember, a leak of her hair, that they were doing like a hair model of Max's hair, and at the time, they had said that was like unrelated, or that was like a model they used for a different character. I mean, technically, we did see the picture of her in the trailer in the final episode, and you would imagine that's why they were doing her hair, is because they were kind of redesigning her character for that. I just think her character means a lot to the franchise. We talked about her powers before. Remember last week we talked about, what powers could this new person have. Her powers are one of the best. And, again, while we talked about, maybe copying, the Avengers with the other, Infinity Stones, you could do that and you could have some really cool powers there. No matter if you did that or not, Max's powers would always be one of the top. I really would. I mean, the ability to manipulate time is always, no matter what other power. I mean, obviously, like controlling people's minds, stuff like that is very powerful too. But controlling time is insanely powerful. In fact, again, for Avengers, it's the thing that literally wins them the battle, right? And I know I keep comparing. I just love Avengers so much, okay? But I think she'd have a place. I really do. I get the farewell episode was literally a farewell to her character. And, thinking about it with that in mind does actually kind of make me depressed, because Deck 9, now I don't know if they were talking to Don't Nod at the time and they're like, all right, you don't plan to ever make a game with Max and Chloe in it again, or at least Max, right? So we're going to literally make an episode titled Farewell, and we will say goodbye to these characters. And so, if that's what happened, there's still hope, because Deck 9's running the show now, and they're like, you know what, we could do more with Max. We could tell the story of her older, or they can just generally, because it's not like it's never been done before, where whether it's a game or movie, you say goodbye to a character, and then a few years later, you're like, you know what? We kind of miss having that character. It was probably a bad idea to end them. Or you could think of it in a more malicious way, where it's like we can kind of capitalize off of their popularity, all that stuff. That happens. It doesn't actually stop in Hollywood. It doesn't stop in games, right? It always happens. Okay, so it's just the fact that they did the farewell episode again. Maybe if it was Don't Nod's idea, well, Don't Nod's out of it now. Who cares what they think? If it was Deck 9's idea, well, I still have the hope in myself, and again, you guys can choose to have it with me or not. I still have the hope that they could say, you know what? Again, this was a really good character. We never really got to tell anything with her. She has a life after Life is Strange, so after the first game, maybe we could tell that, and hopefully that's the path that they choose to go. An argument you can make against me is hey, if you go back to Max, and again, I'm not saying she is the main character, the story needs to completely revolve around her. In fact, I'm not, because I do understand the thought process that I'll finish right now of, if you go back to her, or you just go back, even with Sean and Daniel, if you just go back to them, you're not innovating. You're not telling anything radically new. And while I hated Life is Strange 2, one thing I can say about it is, it definitely tried to do something very, very different. The powers were obviously different. The characters were obviously they're brothers now and they're guys, but the idea of what the story was, them on the run and experiencing all of that stuff, while I hated it, that was very, very different than Life is Strange 1, and I honestly commend them for that. I think that's actually a good thing that they at least tried, okay? So, in Life is Strange 3, if you go back to Max, and you're only back to Max, or maybe you have Chloe, maybe you find some really weird way of pulling that off, right? Well, you're just retreading old waters, right? You kind of have to do it, again, any way that, or obviously, make it unique to yourself, but again, movies, games, television, all of these things, they do bring back characters. They do bring back stories that have been gone for a very long time. And yeah, sure, some of them fail. And why do they fail? Because they're just retreading old waters and they're doing nothing new. So this game would have to do the exact same thing. If you bring back a character as important and as big as Max, you have to do something brand new with that character. You have to evolve them. Now, could they ruin a character by doing that? Yes, again, that is something that has been done before in all of these different mediums. These are all worrisome things, or these are all cautious things that you have to be aware of when doing it. I truly do think it's worth it, though. I think that if you told me, Alex, the third game, whatever game they're working on, is going to be either entirely new characters, all that stuff, or it's going to be trying to do new things and having new characters, but it's also going to feature Max. If you gave me those options, I choose the Max option every single time. I really do. I think a lot of people would. I do think there's some people that would just say, hey, just leave the character alone, try different things. But I think you can combine them. I think you can try new things. Again, heck, when I said in the beginning, she could be one of the main characters. You could, maybe you don't even have to play as her. You could play as somebody else. Maybe they have powers, okay? And again, you could do a mentor role. Maybe Max is teaching them. I don't know. Do an Xavier school, right? Do an X-Men thing. But in reality, you can do these things. You really, really can. You've established, by the way, that more than one person can have abilities in this world, okay? And you've established that Max is still around. Whether or not you chose to save Chloe or Arcadia Bay, Max is around in Life is Strange 2 in that 5th episode. So I really think she's a very important character to this franchise. I personally think she's the best character. I know not everybody agrees with me there. That's okay. I think she's the best. I think she has enough goodwill to her character that if they were to say she's coming back, again, there would be cautious things. We'd have to be like, oh, okay, well, you got to be careful about doing this. You had to be careful about doing that. But in reality, I say go for it, because I would rather take a little bit of familiarity and then also some new stuff versus trying to do Life is Strange 2 again, because again, while I guess give them a round of applause for like trying to do it, I hated the characters. I hated the journey's adventure. I hated the powers. It's literally just the Force. It's really just moving rocks if you think about it. I mean, we can go on and on about how much I didn't like it. I won't, because I know people don't like me going after that game. And that's okay. I think, again, people will get more okay with me doing it, as we go along. So that's why. To me, that's why. I really think it's a good idea. I think that it's kind of the best blend of like a safe bet mixed with a kind of just like a padding. Max, I think maybe that's the best way of saying it, and that's how I'll end this video. Max, to me, being in any future Life is Strange game just provides a bit of padding. You don't need to put everything on her because she already got her game, okay? But if you want to lean into her a little bit, right? You want to say, hey, can you carry an episode? Can you help these characters maybe become likable, or, whatever? Maybe she gets sacrificed. Maybe you do something emotional in that way. I mean, I think she provides a cushion that you flat out do not have if you're starting from scratch every single time, because like they did in Life is Strange 2, and it's a discussion you have really with any game, if you don't have any connection, and they really didn't, if you don't have any connection to the previous game, but you're part of that same franchise, you have to do it all over again. You have to get us to buy the world, you have to get us to buy the characters, you have to get us to buy the adventure or the journey, and, I think having a familiar face helps with that. It would honestly, a wild example, sure, but like Uncharted, say. I wouldn't be all that mad if they did a brand new game and they had none of the original cast. However, I really just don't think they'll do that. And honestly, it's probably for the best. If they have Cassie or whatever, or Sam, you're immediately leaning into what you've done in the past, but you're going to go in a different direction, but you're going to help people along, right? You're not just going to drop it. It's why a lot of the movie soft reboots or, these kind of things, it's why they bring back the older faces, because it's a lot easier to hand the torch off than to just give it to somebody in the beginning of the movie and say, you need to accept this. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what Life is Strange did, and you can praise them for that. I would, I guess, in terms of being brave, but I just don't think it worked. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Should Max come back? Should she be a main character? Maybe she should, like a cameo. Let me know what you guys think. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on so you know all these videos go up. Again, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. I try to do a new Life is Strange video every single week, and I'll be keeping that up as the weeks go on. Hopefully, we have a new game to talk about very soon, and I hope to see you guys then.